America. That's right. For those of you that's transitioning from Home Talk to Event America, we want to welcome all of you. So we don't try to confuse you. It is Home Talk USA. I am the Cajun contractor, Michael King. But if you are a new listener, we want you to know that we're kind of systematically keeping everything under one roof, kind of organized in a way where our topics are not all over the place. And in this hour, you're going to learn about Invent America. Like the Inventor Lady says herself, because America invents, how do you get your product to market? How do you go from an idea, from a dream, to get it on a piece of paper? How to get it patent, the process of patent, the process of having it made, and and then actually the most important, how do you sell it? So it's a process, but I'd like to welcome my partner in crime, the Inventor Lady herself. If you're just tuning in, she had trouble last week in the West Virginia mountains out there, and she couldn't be on the show. And but Rita, welcome. But hey, we had you back, Inventor Lady. We had you back. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for covering for me last week. I know we had some really good inventors lined up, and we do again this week. So it's really, I think for a lot of the consumers out there, when they go out and they find something new, they don't realize what goes into it. I think every little kid, they've been to some kind of invention convention and had the dream of being an inventor. And parents get excited when they have the science conventions and everything out there. So we always, have that idea, maybe I'll grow up and be an inventor, and people get
Yeah.
so excited when they've got the new idea. So it's fun to be able to let our consumers know what goes into getting a product out there. But then it's really fun to have an inventor call me and say, I was listening to you on the radio. What's
Yeah.
my next step? And be able to help inventors, conquer some of those challenges successfully.
Well, on a smaller scale, and maybe our audience might not realize, is that the majority of the products being developed are a husband and wife team. I mean, it's they both have a financial interest in there, and it's common more and more. So I want to talk about that, your experience, reader, to talk about teamwork, which is so important between the husbands and wives. And I know each case is evaluated individually on the different parts of what the husband's background, wife's background. It all can be different. So I
Well,
know, but talk about
different,
that.
yeah. Well, different people have different skill sets. And so when we get a husband and wife team, and we do have a lot of them that are working together, they've got different ways of saying, okay, this is where my skill set is. And so they'll make the decisions in that area. And then the partner will make the decisions in the other area. But I had one of the couples, and it's like, okay, so at what point did we get marriage counseling? And, because there is always, anytime you've got people that are, A-type personalities getting something out there, there's going to be some tug of wars. So I thought it would be fun to talk about, the different products, and then how do they solve the problems. Most inventors, when they say, well, I've got a partner, it's generally not their spouse and who they're crawling into bed with. It's like I tell my husband, 9 o'clock is the cutoff. You don't get to tell me any more issues at 9 o'clock, because then you go to sleep and I lay there and worry. So I think most couples, when they're working together, have got some kind of boundaries that they work with. Because if you've got a partner that's somebody else, you hang up the phone. You don't let it ring after a certain point. It's more of the business type of relationship. But that husband and wife team, man, that is
Well,
something totally different.
if I could offer some suggestion, advice, when I first started, I was a husband and wife team. Even though I was the front person, my wife was the back person. She took care of the accounting and the paperwork, the billing, and so on and so forth when we first started, because I couldn't afford to pay anybody. With that being said, the guidelines that I set, and I'm only doing from experience, to say, look, I don't want it to become a problem. Um, when it's 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock, I'm just using an example because when you're in business, there's no 8 to 5. But
Right,
what I'm
right.
saying is, we're going to set 8 to 5. When it's 8 to 5, it's business. It ain't personal. It's not. It's trying to conduct the business. But when 5 o'clock rolls around, then it's personal. You understand? Then we get
Yep.
into the personal aspect. So I think if you separate the business from the personal, because let's face it, it can be challenging. Husband and wife there all the time, 24 hours a day. I mean, getting
Oh
everybody's
yeah.
nerve. You didn't like my decision. I didn't like your decision. Or, well, I shouldn't have married you. You know what I mean? Uh,
Yeah.
I made the biggest mistake of my life.
Well,
Uh,
it's
you know what I'm saying
I
here.
yeah, I do. And then I get the inventors, they're working on it in their garage or someplace, and they feel like they're all alone. It's like I feel like I'm on an island all by myself, and my spouse thinks I'm crazy. And so I think the husband and wife teams that are working together, yeah, they may have a tug of war going on, but they don't feel like they're alone floating
Yeah,
in the ocean, like the inventors who are alone, feel like they're floating in the ocean and they can't get an answer, they can't get any feedback. And it's so funny because when I say, well, what, did you get any feedback? Oh yeah, everybody loved my idea. Who'd you talk to? Oh, my wife, my mother, my sister, my brother, my kids, and they love you. They
it
didn't
can be
really give you
objective.
an honest opinion,
It
objective
can be
opinion,
objective.
exactly.
Yeah, because when you give them a negative opinion, then you just lost them.
That's
What do you
right, that's
mean?
right.
Well, if you don't, if
Make
you
your
don't,
own dinner.
well, if you don't believe what I'm saying, just Google the Funny Farm with Chevy Chase. Just Google that
Yeah,
movie. That's it, right there. Just Google it, right there, right there.
there you go, there you
That's all
go.
I'm saying. Well, I'm looking at the guest list today, and I apologize, and I see Brian Paul here. Brian was he was our guest last week too,
Well,
and
interesting role reversal though, because see, last
yeah,
week he was our inventor, and this week he's our industry expert. Because this
wow.
week he is Dr. Paul.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Okay, yeah. Now you see, that's what I was saying.
yeah, yeah.
So, uh,
And it was
yeah,
funny because we were saying, all right, who's going to be our industry expert on this? And it's like we're going to get Dr. Paul, and
yeah.
totally different. But you know what? He can relate now to the
I
inventors
had, I
because
tell you,
he's been there.
I had such a great conversation with him last week. It was really, if you listen, it was actually some of it was actually comical. To be honest with you, it was, usually doctors are serious, education. One of my best friends is a heart doctor, and when he was in high school, I was shaking my head, and now he's doing on hearts, and I wouldn't allow him to clip my toenails in high school, you know. So, but at the end of the day, I think they're so book smart. They're in a way where they have to learn, and sometimes when you meet doctors, sometimes they don't know how to talk to people. They have no personality because they've been studying books their whole life. But this Brian Paul guy, doctor, I'm gonna call him doctor, and I have to be formal now because he deserves that title because I'm out of education. But what I'm saying, I can't wait till we have him back on, like, and see the difference in the persona compared to
Right,
last
right.
week. Him loosening up and explaining, yeah, now he's got to protect his medical profession. We don't want to get him disbarred. And no, that's lawyers, right? Disbarred. Can a
Well,
doctor be disbarred? I don't know, but doctor be. Yeah, I guess they can.
I do notice that when I've got other doctors, either PhDs or MDs,
Yeah,
that have done different, they've been an inventor and they say, no, no, just call me by my first name. And, so it's always funny to meet, that professional,
yeah,
persona as opposed to the inventor persona, which can be just a ton of fun and,
yeah.
a lot of good questions. So we are very lucky that we have a, Brian Paul last week and a Dr. Paul this week.
Yeah, well, good. And we got a great show. Can you just, we only got about a minute. We've got to take a short break. Can you kind of tease our audience a little bit about some of our guests this week?
Well, we've got two couples on. Both of them are making products, so they've got it in the marketplace, and both really great products. So you're going to want to, hear what they are, so that you can go and get one. And one is made in America, one is not. And we're going to ask a little bit about, kind of that decision to do it that way.
Wow, good. Well, I'll tell you, don't forget, we are streaming live on the World Wide Web at hometalkusa.com. I'm the Cajun contractor, Michael King, along with the Inventor Lady herself, Rita Crompton. This is Invent America, because like Rita always says, the Inventor Lady, American invents. I'm the Cajun man. Y'all come back now, you hear?